Okay, great. So the way that, I know you had asked a little bit about the models case. And I think just broadly, we have three sort of different types of platforms at Google, and we group them in these three different ways when it comes to content regulation. We have search. We have platforms, which include YouTube, Blogger, etc. And then we have ads. And these three different types of areas all have different types of content policies. Now for search, we take the approach that really the search engine is a reflection of the internet. In other words, we don't host the content, we merely index it. And we also don't control the content that's on there. That means that in general terms, and there are always exceptional cases, but in general terms, our policies say that you only remove content from search when it's illegal. And that would include things like child pornography. That would include things like copyright, when we receive copyright complaints. That would include things like if we're doing a search and you're seeing Google search in Germany, that would include things like Nazi propaganda, only for Germany because that's clearly illegal in that country. So that's search. For our platforms here, we also will remove content that's illegal when we become aware of it. So we'll remove child porn, copyright when it's brought to our attention. But in addition to that, we go beyond what the law requires. Right? So we actually have these policies that I just described earlier called the community guidelines. And on Blogger, we have the same types of policies. And these policies talk about things like prohibiting things like porn, violence, drug abuse. And again, it's not necessarily that we have to do that because these things are illegal to have on the sites, but because we host the content, we feel a responsibility there. And we've decided that given the character of the site, we want to have those rules in place. Now again, we do not pre-screen any of the content. All of the content goes up, but when the community brings it to our attention, we have policies that say we can remove, again, hate speech, violent content, sexual content. So that's the platforms. So it's both legal and also content policies. And then for ads, this is where it's most restrictive. If you want to advertise on Google products, here we feel that not only are we hosting the ads, but we're also accepting money from those advertisements. And there we have really the strictest policies in terms of what those ads can contain. They even prohibit things. Not only do they prohibit the sexual content, the pornographic content, the hate speech, but they also prohibit things like tobacco and in some cases alcohol, again, because we're accepting money for those ads and we get to decide, you know, what we want those policies to be. So it goes sort of on the spectrum of the very strict, we host, we accept money from it, to the least restrictive, which is, this is merely a reflection of the internet.
Ahora si nos pueden contar muy brevemente cuáles son los estándares de responsabilidad o si han tenido algún tipo de condenas judiciales, tanto por difundir material que se considera ilegal y si hay alguna exención de responsabilidad cuando se puede identificar a la persona que subió esa información, es decir, a la web o a YouTube, es decir, si pueden identificar al autor. Es decir, ¿en qué casos han sido los sitios condenados judicialmente y en cuáles no? O sea, que cómo se manejan con ese tema, ¿no?
Well, the first and happiest thing that I can say is that I am not a lawyer. So I am in no way qualified to answer your question, and I won't answer your question at any length. The one thing that I will tell you is that there have been many, many legal cases in many different countries, and each one is different. And I can't give you a hard and fast rule about what happens under the law in each case. My guess is that it's different in each jurisdiction, in each area, even within a country. But I don't have figures about this. And the one thing I will tell you is that we are a platform for content. That is the operating principle behind Google. And we are not liable for the content that appears on Google. It is our job to be that platform. It is not our job, past the points that Victoria made, to be a censor.
And I would say as well, you know, every single day at YouTube, we get requests to take down content. So it could be that it's a government, a lawyer. It could be that it's a company. Very often, every day, we get a company or a politician saying, this video makes me look really bad. Can you please take it down? And in general, what we do is we follow legal process, which means, you know, if the FBI comes to us with a subpoena or with a warrant, we do have to follow that, just like every company does. But like Bob said, I think we push back when requests seem to be overbroad. And an example of that, and in addition for YouTube, for example, when we're not launched in a country, I think we also push back there as well. So for example, there would be laws in the Middle East related to religious desecration. So that would be like the burning of the Quran. And we receive requests to take that down. Again, unless we receive formal legal process, we're not going to create a separate policy just for one region. As a general rule, we would rather have global policies across the board on YouTube.